Hey guys, how you doing? This is Rich from Rich TV Live, and I wanted to report on the coronavirus. Now, it looks as though this coronavirus is a lot worse than what people have said, which is what I've been saying since day one. There's a report that came out on Bloomberg today, which is saying that this coronavirus could infect not 60,000 confirmed people, not 14 confirmed cases in America, but there's people that are predicting on Bloomberg, one of the most recognized news platforms in the world, that 2/3 of the world could get this virus. 2/3 of the world could get this virus. 2/3 of the world. Let me read this article from Bloomberg. As the number of coronavirus cases jumps dramatically in China, a top infectious disease scientist warns that things could get far worse. 2/3 of the world, forget 60,000. We're talking about 5 billion people. 5 billion people. And people still don't want to take this serious. Do you guys still think this is just a common cold? Does anybody still think this is just a common cold? I'd love to know. Does anyone truly believe this is just a common cold? Oh yeah, the market cares. That's why the market's down today, my friend. So believe me, the market cares. As the number of coronavirus cases jumps dramatically in China, a top infectious disease scientist warns that things could get far worse. 2/3 of the world's population could catch it. 2/3 of the world's population. Forget 60,000. Forget 14. 2/3 of the world's population. That is pretty scary. Pretty scary. The market is melting up, but when you have a disease that is potentially infecting 60,000 people so far, 14 in America, 28 countries worldwide, and spreading every single day, how can you not take it seriously? Unless you're living in a bubble. They are predicting that 2/3 of the world's population could be in China. His estimate implies that there could eventually be billions. That's right. Billions with a B. Billions more infections than the current official tally of about 60,000. Billions with a B. Billions. Billions with a B. 60,000 scary? Yes. 1,367 dead is scary? Yes. But 5 billion? That's scary. If the virus spreads to anywhere near that extent, it will show the limitations of China's strict containment measures, including quarantining areas inhabited by tens of millions of people. I'll let this play for you guys to watch. I mean, but like this is some scary stuff, man. Safe. There are people that are being infected and affected by this coronavirus all over the world. This is being reported on Bloomberg. This is Bloomberg. Very conservative place. Dylan Fraser says, hey, Rich, just got to say great show this afternoon. I just finished watching it. Say it with me all. Rich for CEO, Rich for CEO, Rich for CEO. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate you, bro. So yeah, I'm just looking at this coronavirus and how it's going to affect all of our lives. And I see this article today on Bloomberg saying that 2/3 of the world can catch this. If the virus spreads to anywhere near that extent, it will show the limitations of China's strict containment measures, including quarantining areas inhabited by tens of millions of people, who Director General Tedros Adhanom has credited those steps. I don't think you guys get what they're saying. They're saying that this is going to spread to the rest of the world, and we have a time right now to prepare. That's up to us to decide what we're going to do to prepare. But we've got a window of opportunity. When China quarantined their entire country, well, not the entire country, but 60 million people, but pretty much the entire country is very aware of what's going on. What they did is they give all of us all over the rest of the world an opportunity, a window to prepare ourselves for what's coming. Do you guys understand what that means? Are you reading and listening to what I'm saying clearly? We have a window of opportunity before coronavirus is in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, at our work, in our countries. Well, last time I looked, it's already in my country. It's probably in your country too. It's in America. It's in Canada. It's in the UK. Worse. This is really scary. They've given us a window. China's given us a window to prepare. Are you prepared? Are you ready for what's coming? Because I don't think anybody really understands what's coming. Remember, the people that are in China are living in hell. It is pure hell what the people in China are living through. The question is, what are you going to do to protect yourself? If anything, are you doing anything to protect yourselves? Because this is scary, guys. Quarantines may slow the spread, but the virus had the opportunity to roam in China and beyond before they went into effect, Longini said. The country boosted its count of those infected by almost 15,000 on Thursday after widening the diagnosis methods. Longini's modeling is based on data showing that each infected person normally transmits the disease to 2 or 3 other people. A lack of rapid tests and the relative mildness of the infection in some people also makes it difficult to track its spread, he said. Very, very scary situation. Everywhere you look, all they talk about is the outbreak, the outbreak, the outbreak, the outbreak. Everywhere we go, all they talk about is the outbreak. Are you now starting to take this serious? Do you understand how this could affect your life? Do you understand how this can affect your life? 2/3 of the world could get this virus. Now, even if 3% of 5 billion people get the virus, how many deaths is that? Can you guys do some quick math? How many deaths would be if 5 billion people got this virus? What would be 3% of that? I can't believe nobody's talking about it in Calgary. It's on Bloomberg. I'm not making this up, eh? Look at the article on Bloomberg. Look at the article on Bloomberg. Bloomberg is reporting that 2/3 of the world could catch this. 2/3 of the world. That's 5 billion people. What is 3% of 5 billion? You guys ready? I'll give you a quick number. About 150 million people. So if 5 billion people catch this worldwide, as you can see, the outbreak is spreading and everyone's talking about it all over the world. Look, I'm just letting it run. They're just talking about the outbreak everywhere, all over the world. But yet people don't want to pay attention. If 5 billion people get this, 3% death toll would be 150 million people. That means 150 million people would die. Does that get your attention? I got children. I don't want my kids getting this. I don't want to get this. I don't want my parents getting this. I don't want my friends getting this. I don't want my family getting this. I don't want my subscribers getting this. I don't want my community getting this. I don't want everyone or anyone to get this. But it looks as though it's going to happen whether we like it or not. The question is, what are we going to do to prepare ourselves? Infinite Possibility says, if you don't hear from me again, I guess I was wrong. Brother, I hope you're not wrong, man. I don't wish this on anybody. I don't wish a pandemic on everybody. But look, it's on every single channel. Every single channel all over the world is talking about this outbreak. How could you possibly live in a bubble and pretend like this doesn't exist? We need to be prepared, people. If you care about your future, if you care about your children, if you care about your grandchildren, you need to think about what we can do to prepare ourselves for what is coming, because it's already here. It's already in Canada. It's already in America. It's already in Australia. It's already in the UK. It's already in France. It's in many, many countries all over the world. You want me to tell you how many countries? It's nuts. So I am making this up, eh? So we haven't got the updated numbers, but we've got 1,371 deaths. 6,298 have recovered. Thank God. 60,420 cases, but this has not been updated since yesterday yet. If I do get an update, I'll bring you the new numbers while we're live. Of the active cases, which are 52,751, 44,702 are mild, which is 85%. 8,049 are in serious or critical condition, which is 8,049 people. 15% of the currently infected are in serious or critical condition. I hope you guys can pull through, man. Of the closed cases, 7,669, 6,298 have either recovered or been discharged, which is 82%, and 1,371 or 18% have died. If you look at the chart of the cases and the deaths, they look like a hockey stick. They're just shooting right up, which is extremely alarming for me. Extremely alarming. So I'm going to tell you guys all the countries this is in. China, Japan. China has 59,832 cases. Japan has 251 cases. Singapore has 58 cases. Hong Kong has 53 cases. Thailand has 33 cases. South Korea has 28 cases. Malaysia has 19 cases. Taiwan has 18 cases. Germany has 16 cases. Vietnam has 16 cases. Australia has 15 cases. USA now has 15 cases, and the number continues to grow. France has 11 cases. Macau has 10 cases. UK has 9 cases. UAE has 8 cases. Canada has 7 cases. India has 5 cases, including 2 yesterday or 2 today. Philippines has 3 cases. Italy has 3 cases. Russia has 2 cases. Spain has 2 cases. Belgium has 1 case. Sweden has a case. Nepal has a case. Sri Lanka has a case. Finland has a case. And Cambodia has a case. It's a lot of places. That's 28 countries. Now, luckily for me, 2 of the countries that I have homes in, Portugal and the Dominican Republic, don't have any cases. So if it gets crazy here, you know where I'm going. I'm either going to Portugal or I'm going to the Dominican Republic. I got a villa in each property, in each country. So I'm either going back home to my DR home, my beautiful villa there in paradise, or I'm going to my villa in Portugal. Either way, I'm going where they don't got it. I don't want to be where it's prevalent. Am I nuts? Am I crazy? Am I overreacting? Am I a fearmonger? Am I a panicker because I care about my health and my future and my safety? Or am I actually just being aware? Flora says, Rich TV Live, you are the midnight vampire, but you are up at 5 a.m. to 2 a.m. giving breaking news. When do you sleep? Man, it's hard to sleep when you're in the middle of a pandemic. Wait, like sleep for what? What's sleeping going to do? It's not going to protect me. We need to protect ourselves. We need to be aware. I go and I read Bloomberg. I'm reading Bloomberg for stock information, news, business, right? I'm not thinking I'm going to hear that, oh yeah, 2/3 of the world are going to get the coronavirus. Well, that's what I read on Bloomberg today. And I'm like, whoa. Everywhere I go, all I see are people in masks, scientists talking about how terrible this is, and experts talking about how this could spread all over the world. But yet people who are not experts keep trying to say it's not even as bad as a flu. But did they shut down China for the flu? Did they shut down the largest economy in the world because of the flu? Are they spraying down China with disinfectant because of the flu? I'm just asking. I'm not an expert. I just report the news. It's crazy. Reducing transmission, even if there were a way to reduce transmission by half, that would still imply that roughly 1/3 of the world would become infected. So essentially what this article is saying is that there's a very good chance that 2/3 of the world, 5 billion people, are going to catch this. Even if we reduce the transmission, there's a very good chance that 1/3 of the world, 2.5 billion people, will catch this. Is that not alarming to you guys? Green Bull says Portugal is due for an earthquake, I believe, unfortunately. Go to the Dominican. Why are you saying Portugal's due for an earthquake? Where'd you get that information? Are you psychic? David says, really, if you think about it, if animals can carry it, all the world will. Yeah. It's just a matter of time until the whole world's aware of this virus because it is spreading and it's spreading fast and it's spreading everywhere. And everywhere I look, all they do is talk about the outbreak. Everywhere I look, every single news station in the world is talking about the outbreak. Can says, man, what's up with this fear mongering? Is it fear mongering or am I creating awareness? Because if you create awareness for yourself and you protect yourself and this spreads all over the world, I think you're going to change your tune in a couple months and you'll probably thank me and say, Rich, thank you for creating awareness. I wasn't aware, but now I am. And because of you, I'm safe. Am I creating fear or am I creating awareness? Because I'm not living in fear. I still go outside. I don't wear a mask. I'm not living in fear. I'm still moving on with my life as if nothing's happened. But the reality is, this is very serious. And when experts and doctors and scientists are saying that 2/3 of the world will get it, and if we do a good job containing it, 1/3 of the world will get it, to me, that is extremely alarming. Because if 2.5 people get it, 3% of that is about 75 million people that will die worldwide. If 5 billion people get it, 3%, which is the death toll that they're saying, if 5 billion people get it, 3% of that is 150 million people that will pass away due to this coronavirus. Now, am I still a fearmonger? Because I'm not making up these statistics. This is an expert on Bloomberg, one of the most trusted news sources in the world. That's a fact. Unless the transmissibility changes, surveillance and containment can only work so well, Longini, co-director of the Center for Statistics and Quantitative Infectious Diseases at the University of Florida, said in an interview at WHO World Health Organization headquarters in Geneva. Isolating cases and quarantining contacts is not going to stop this virus. You hear that? Let me say that again. Isolating cases and quarantining contacts is not going to stop the virus. So what's going to stop the virus? The only thing that can stop the virus is a vaccine. Without a vaccine, we're in some serious, serious danger. He's not alone in warning of the possibility of a far greater spread. Neil Ferguson, a researcher at Imperial College London, estimated that as many as 50,000 people may be infected each day in China. 50,000 people. You hear that number? 50,000 people may be getting infected each day in China. This is coming from experts. This is not me. This is on Bloomberg. Take a look at the article. Read it for yourself. Gabriel Leung, a public health professor at the University of Hong Kong, has also said close to 2/3 of the world can catch the virus if it is left unchecked. 2/3 of the world. What do they know about this virus that we don't? You guys ever thought about that? What do they know about the virus that they're not telling us? Why are experts saying that 2/3 of the world are going to catch this? But yet then there's people that are not experts that are saying, oh, it's just like a cold. It's like a flu. No big deal. No big deal. It's just the flu. It only bothers the Chinese. What, are they not human? They're not people? This is real, guys. And I just want to bring awareness to the people, man. You may call me a fearmonger now, but in 3 weeks, I started reporting this. When I first started reporting this 3 weeks ago, there was 1 dead and 300 infected. Now we have 1,371 dead, 60,000 infected in 3 weeks. And you think I'm a fearmonger or am I a truth teller? The big B man says they created this stupid virus to pump us with the vaccine. A lot of people say that. Where's the vaccine? Where's the vaccine that they're going to pump us with? Where? I just read the news, man. I educate myself and I read the news. People think I'm nuts. People think I'm crazy. People call me a fearmonger. I'm just reading the news. All I'm doing is reading the news. People take shots at me. People attack me. People want to say whatever they want to say about me. All I'm doing is reading the news. Where's the bodies? Have you not been watching? They're all being cremated. They're being cremated, man. I guess you haven't been watching. Hey, you know what? It's okay. You don't have to watch. Just watch Rich TV and I'll let you know what's up. The estimates of spread are part of a spectrum of possibilities that could unfold as the epidemic progresses, says Alessandro Vispignani, a biostatistician at Northeastern University in Boston. These are American scientists. I'm not making this up. The next few weeks may provide more information about how easily the disease spreads outside China, particularly if more measures are put in place to control it, he said. People change behaviors in response to disease, he said. This is kind of a worst case scenario. It's one of the possibilities. More data needs to be gathered to gain a better idea of how far the virus is likely to range, said David Heyman, an infectious disease expert at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, who oversaw the WHO's response to SARS in 2003. We're seeing countries outside of China that have been able to contain the outbreak pretty well. I'm not saying they're wrong, he said, of estimates from the likes of Longini and Liang. I'm saying the models will be refined as more information comes to light. What do you guys think? What do you think about this news? Behind me, you're literally watching news 24/7 about the virus. It's just 24/7. It's 24/7 all over the world. Now, we're very far away from the epicenter. We're not in China. In China, this is hell. For the Chinese people, this is hell. This is complete and utter hell. It's like being in a horror movie. Now, the question is, what do you guys think about this news? Do you think this is real? Am I a fearmonger for reading an article on Bloomberg? Bloomberg says they're the most trusted news source out there. You know, and then take a look at this. INO, which is a stock that we've been watching, they're putting out news saying that they're building a coronavirus vaccine. The road to a coronavirus vaccine runs through Oslo. A key player in the race to develop a vaccine for the new coronavirus doesn't conduct biomedical research. It's 3 years old, has just 68 permanent employees, and is headquartered in Norway, which so far has reported 0 cases of the illness. But the coalition of epidemic preparedness innovations is incredibly necessary, says Dr. Manuel Martin. This is also on Bloomberg, the advisor for medical innovation and access policy at Doctors Without Borders. Absolutely without a doubt, CEPI has accelerated development of a vaccine against the virus, says Phyllis Arthur, Vice President for Infectious Diseases and Diagnostics Policy at Biotechnology Innovation Organization, a trade group. Since CEPI's contribution is organizational, attention usually goes to the scientists it supports, but the coalition is a societal immune response, spreading the development and deployment of vaccines that the private sector on its own lacks the profit motive to undertake. The need for it became clear after the 2014 Ebola outbreak in West Africa, which killed more than 11,000 people. This is not as bad as Ebola. Scientists had begun working on a vaccine, but no company had produced one because the market was small and potential recipients poor. An ad hoc consortium rushed one into existence. CEPI was conceived at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland in January 2016. It started in Davos a year later with funding from the forum, the governments of Norway and India, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Wellcome Trust, a London-based research charity. It's raised $760 million towards its target of $1 billion, with multi-year funding from its founders as well as Australia, Canada, Germany, Japan, and the UK. Finding a vaccine for the new coronavirus is the coalition's first big test. On January 23rd, less than a month after Chinese scientists identified the virus, CEPI announced funding of vaccine development projects led by Inovio Pharmaceuticals, Inc., a Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, the University of Queensland in Brisbane, Australia, and Moderna, Inc. of Cambridge, Massachusetts. On January 31st, the group reported a development agreement with biopharmaceutical company CureVac AG of Tübingen, Germany. On February 3rd, it announced a deal for vaccine giant GlaxoSmithKline PLC to supply its adjuvant technology, which juices up some vaccines by enhancing the body's immune response to them. Chinese and Russian companies are working on vaccines outside CEPI's auspices. A Chinese drug maker, BrightGene biomedical technology company, is mass producing an experimental therapy, remdesivir, that belongs to Gilead Science Inc. of Foster City, California. These are companies that are working on a coronavirus vaccine. This is so important that we pay attention to what's going on with coronavirus stocks, because any one of these companies that finds the vaccine or the cure is going to skyrocket. The goal is to have a vaccine ready for wide deployment in 12 to 18 months. It's a long ways away. We're talking about a year to a year and a half before a vaccine will be ready. The question is, how many people will be gone by then? How many millions of people will be infected in a year to 18 months? Just the thought of that just gives me the creeps. Richard Hatchett, CEPI's executive director, that timetable means that vaccine won't stem the current outbreak, but it will be essential if the virus comes back or never goes away. The nightmare scenario, says Hatchett, is a disease that combines a fraction of the lethality of Middle East respiratory syndrome with the contagiousness of the common cold. Possibly, he says, that's what we're dealing with now. Both MERS and some colds are caused by coronaviruses, as is COVID-19, the name given to the new disease. The coalition has had a head start against COVID-19 because it was already working on a MERS vaccine. It's also been developing a rapid response platform for new threats. That's how flu vaccines work. A core component is tweaked to battle novel strains. Except in CEPI's vision, the platform could fight different diseases, not just versions of a single one. CEPI solves what economists call a coordination problem. It can help pair boutique research and development companies with big vaccine manufacturers, work with regulators to streamline approval processes, and resolve patent disputes on the spot. Its scientific advisory committee has executives from Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and Japan's Takeda Pharmaceutical, among others. The coalition has had its disagreements. Some corporations objected to its original equitable access policy, an 18-page documentation that spelled out how vaccines produced under its auspices would be provided at affordable prices in developing nations. Did you hear what I said earlier? They didn't come up with a cure or a vaccine for Ebola because Ebola was in Africa and there wasn't enough money for them to actually come up with a cure. So they just gave up on it. That's just disgusting. I find that disgusting. I find that just disgusting. Nobody cares about human life anymore. They just care about money. We were working on a cure for Ebola. 11,000 people died in Africa, and then we realized that none of them had any money to pay for a cure. So what's the use of finding a cure? Let them die. Let them die. Disgusting. But because China is a very rich country with a lot of high net worth people, and high net worth people are dying of this virus. Look, guys, you don't go on a cruise unless you have money. People on a cruise ship that are rich are dying. So this is why this is a problem, because people with money are dying. If it was poor people, nobody would care. Because this already happened with Ebola in Africa where 11,000 people died and nobody cares because it's affecting the poor people. But as soon as you start affecting the rich, as soon as the rich start dying, then heads start to roll. So yes, I know there's going to be a lot of different stocks that we are going to have to look at that are going to potentially be the cure for this and other deadly viruses. We need to protect ourselves against this deadly virus. And as investors that want to profit, we need to maximize and do the research, do the due diligence, and find every single company that's looking for a cure. So far, we found NNVC, we found INO, we found CODX, we found AEMD, and then they got halted. I know there's more. I just can't think off the top of my head. There's so many coronavirus stocks. Lake, Lake. And I think as a community, we need to make a list and we need to be aware of everything that's happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Samal says, what if terrorist organizations take the virus? Some already believe that's what this is. Some of them believe that this is a bioweapon. Some of them believe that this is an act of war. Some of them believe that this is being tested by governments. I mean, why does this happen in the most populated country in the world? Why? Never thought about that. If you wanted to create population control, which some have said, the Georgia Stones, very popular. They want 500 million people left, right? So if you want 500 million people left and you're trying to create population control, wouldn't you start with India and China? Because India's got the most people China's got the most people in the world and India's second. So don't you start with China and India? And it just so happens that China is the epicenter of this outbreak and India's got it too. Don't you start with them? Sam Madero says, virus created in a lab made to target Chinese. I don't know if this was made to target Chinese, but it definitely was released in China first. If it was released. Or it may have come from eating bats. This is what people say. I don't know if I can believe that. First of all, I can't believe that people eat bats. Like apparently they do. But excuse me, what's the chances of spreading this crazy deadly virus from one person eating a bat? I don't know if I can buy it. Okay, you got the new news? Okay, let me see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. I don't see those numbers updating yet. What's your source? What's your source that's giving you these new numbers? I try to keep these numbers. Oh, you're right. There it is. So the numbers and updated, we now have 65,246 coronavirus cases, 1,487 deaths, 6,992 have recovered, 56,767 active patients, 46,164, 81% in mild condition, 10,603 now in serious or critical condition, which is 19%. That number is growing, people. That is alarming. Closed cases, 8,479, 1,487 deaths, 18% of the closed cases. 6,992 have recovered or discharged, which is 82% of the closed cases. So in the last 24 hours, China has now grown to 64,658 cases. In one day, the number just grew by 4,854 cases. The total deaths in China are now 1,484, 119 new deaths overnight. We now have another death in Japan. So we have a death in Japan. So there is the first death in Japan now that has been reported. 1,484 deaths in China, one death in Japan, one death in Hong Kong, and one death in the Philippines. Now we have deaths in 4 countries. Let's tell you which countries have been infected. China, 64,658 cases. Japan, 4,854 new ones. 119 dead in the last 24 hours. 1,484 total deaths. 6,907 have recovered in China. 10,584 are in critical condition. In Japan, 251 cases. 49 new overnight in Japan. This is scary for Japan. One death in Japan, the first death in Japan, overnight. Total recovered 10 in Japan out of 250 and 4 in critical condition. Singapore, 58 cases, 11 new ones. 15 have recovered, 8 in critical condition. Hong Kong, 53 cases, 4 new ones, 1 death, 1 recovered, 2 in critical condition. Thailand, 33 cases, 12 have recovered, 1 in critical condition. South Korea, 28 cases, 7 have recovered. Malaysia, 19 cases, 1 new one, 3 have recovered. Taiwan, 18 cases, 1 is recovered. Germany, 16 cases, 1 is recovered. Vietnam, 16 cases, 1 new one, 7 have recovered. Australia, 15 cases, 8 have recovered. USA, 15 cases, 2 new ones, 3 have recovered. France, 11 cases, 2 have recovered, 1 in critical condition. Macau, 10 cases, 3 have recovered. UK, 9 cases, 1 new one, 1 is recovered. UAE, 8 cases, 1 is recovered, 1 in critical condition. Canada, 7 cases, 1 is recovered. India, 5 cases, 2 new ones, 1 is recovered. Philippines, 3 cases, 1 has died, 2 have recovered. Italy, 3 cases, 2 have recovered. Russia, 2 cases, both have recovered. Spain, 2 cases, none have recovered. Belgium, 1 case. Sweden, 1 case. Nepal, 1 case, 1 recovery. Sri Lanka, 1 case, 1 recovery. Finland, 1 case, 1 recovery. Cambodia, 1 case, 1 recovery. Those are the updated numbers. Thank you very much for sharing with me the new update. We do have the update right here. And you guys just need to come here to Rich TV Live. I mean, we literally are giving you these updates every single day. And we're going to continue to. We're going to continue to. And behind me, you'll see everybody's talking about the coronavirus. It's just playing. It's just everybody's talking about the coronavirus all over the world. Is coronavirus a bioweapon? Some people believe it is. I don't have any evidence to prove that it is, but some believe that it is. Dylan Fraser says 50 people in self-quarantine in Edmonton flew back from China. That's very scary. Samal says after recovering everyone from coronavirus, if only one person in the world have this virus, the epidemic coming back, which is really scary. Sheldon Snow says, Richie, I don't know if I would be playing CGC earnings unless you shorting. I'm going to try to see if I can stream that call tomorrow morning. So stay tuned. Sheldon Snow says, I feel CGC will bring us down, but I really don't know. So these are the new numbers, guys. My heart goes out to everybody in China. May all the people who have perished rest in peace. 1,487 now dead to this deadly virus, which I've been covering for 3 weeks and gets worse every day. 65,246 worldwide, 1,487 dead, 6,992 have recovered. May you all rest in peace. Guys, there are projections from Bloomberg that this could spread to 2/3 of the world, billions of people. Start taking this serious. Do whatever you can to prepare. China is a ghost town. See that behind me? That's China. It's a ghost town. Everything is shut down. Businesses are shut down. China is the largest economy in the world. You don't think this is serious? Trust me, it's serious. It's dead serious. This is Rich from Rich to Be Live, reporting from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I am not trying to create fear. I'm not trying to create panic. I'm trying to create awareness. There's a big difference. Thank you for watching. It's your boy Rich from Rich to Be Live. Stay safe, everybody. My heart goes out to everybody in China and all over the world that has been affected by this terrible disease. We are now having dead in 4 countries: China, Philippines, Hong Kong, and Japan. May you all rest in peace. Stay safe, everybody. This is your late night vampire, Rich from Rich TV Live, and I'm out. Peace. Remember, Bloomberg said China has given us a window, small little window to prepare ourselves. What are you going to do in that window? Ball's in your court now. All I can do is educate and entertain and create awareness. I can't tell you what to do. I haven't got prepared myself. Straight up, I've done nothing to prepare myself. So I'm going to have to do some deep thinking and think about what I can do to prepare myself. But Bloomberg is suggesting that some scientists are suggesting this is going to get worse and billions will get infected. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you like this video, smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. So every time we have any breaking news, any updates, you will get access to it first. Thank you guys for watching. It's your boy Rich from Rich TV Live, breaking you the news, and I'm out. Stay safe. Peace.